Hi there, this is Alice Karsavar. I'm a realtor in the Bay Area, and today you're watching an episode around the 5 top tricks to get the highest price for your home in today's market. And so I'll start this off with a preface that right now, today's market is a hot market. Maybe you'll be watching this in a cold market, and by hot, I mean prices are going up. Um, there's a lot of buyers in the market and a low inventory. So if you're in that climate watching this video, then the price portion of this is accurate, but the rest of it's still gonna be accurate, and we'll get into it now. Okay, so the first tip I have when I'm talking with sellers is to really visualize what your buyer is thinking, and to go back in time to the time when you were the buyer for your home. And you probably remember it really well, or maybe you don't, it's been quite a while. So these days, you may or may not know that a lot of people are searching for homes on Zillow, Redfin, Realtor, different apps, and 95% of searching for homes happens online. So there's not so much of people going to the brokerage or looking at brokerage windows or even reading magazines. So you might get pitches from agents that are like, I put it in a magazine, and that's really a different price point for some. And for most, that's not even how people shop anymore. So that's one thing to consider. And I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to go right into it. Okay, so I mentioned before, you're going to think like the buyer. And so I have a sample buyer persona here, and we don't need that anymore, do we? So I want you to really visualize what a buyer is thinking like. And most of my buyers are couples and a lot of new buyers. If your home is in a certain price range, it could be attracting new home buyers, typically the lower price points, depending what zip code you're in. So we're going to pretend that we're a couple and we're thinking about having a kid. And this is really relevant for people with the starter homes. So you're a couple, you have a kid, you both work in a pretty good jobs, and you want to be close to your office. Maybe people are still working remotely, maybe they aren't. And your price point is 1.7. And this is where the first part, I'm going to give a really common use case when I'm showing buyers. Let's say that your house is worth $1.7 million, and most of the buyers are looking at 1.5. So you should think about what's the average price point for your zip code. So if the average price point for your zip code is $1.5 million, even if your home is worth 1.7, you should probably think about, if it's a hot market, placing it in that average price point. And again, this isn't like a set in stone way to go about it. You should definitely talk with an agent. Your agent, you can ping me and really think about price. So anyway, you want to price 1.5. And here's why. This couple, and most couples I know, we're going to pretend we're a couple, will set their price point at what the max they think they're willing to pay. And they're not going to go any higher, because in a hot market, people are thinking, well, it's going to be bid up 100K, 200K, sometimes 600K, depending, how the crazy articles going up there. That's not normal at all. And so if they have a search going for 1.5, they're going to miss your property completely. And this has happened time and time again to my clients in a higher bracket. And then I'll have to send them, I'll be like, hey, have you seen this one for 1.7? It might be listed at asking, or at what they want the offer to be. And some clients are just so conditioned. Some buyers are thinking well, it's going to get a bidding war. So that way you'll show up in more search results, which means more viewings, which means more potential for bids. And so that's the first part. So if you're in a hot market, consider listing at a lower price. I wouldn't advise listing too low, because what if you don't get a lot of bites? Right now, that's not the case. And I'll get into price in more detail another time. Typically, that's a very detailed discussion. But yeah, so making sure that your price is reasonable for the area so that you get a lot of views on your property listing. So the next one might seem really obvious to some of you neat freaks out there, but being clean in your house. And I'll give you a real example of this one from a story where I showed a house to a client, and there were boxes everywhere. And we were ready to roll. We wanted to view it. So I was very aggressive, and I was like, let's go view it. So we ping the agent, we get in early, and there's boxes everywhere. It was a great house. And if it was properly decluttered and it was staged, it would have went for at least $200,000 more. But it's really hard for buyers to visualize, okay, here's how I'm going to live in this house. Like I'm talking boxes everywhere. It's like a hoarder house, but it's not their fault because they've been living there for 20 years and they were moving out to another country. But before you ever let people view your house, you want to make sure that it is clean. If you have to hire someone or ask your agent for help, definitely do that. And yeah, so I believe that one went for 1 million, and other homes that were staged that were in the same area will go for 1.2 to 1.4 million. And that's how it can impact your house if it's too difficult for the buyer to visualize. And then the next one I have on this list is declutter, which is similar to the cleaning. And the reason I'm putting those separately is because you can have a decluttered house, but it could be really messy, and there could be like issues on the wall, like doors don't open, they're like sticky, things like that will make buyers think, oh, this house wasn't well maintained. And maybe you do maintain it really well, but it's just, people are very shallow when they're buying. They're like, it's a high price point. They're like, this is all my money. I want it to be as flawless as can be. So those are that one. The next one here on this list is staging. So let me share screen again. I'm going to show you some examples of why staging is important. Oh, well, I just changed the color, so let's not do that. It's gonna drive me nuts. Okay, so let's pretend again that we are that couple and we're looking for a property, and we're just gonna go in blind at the 1.5, start to look at houses. Okay, so you can afford it. That's foreclosure. I always tell my clients, like, let's avoid foreclosures. That's just me, because I don't want them to have to wait too long. And a lot of my clients want to get the house sooner rather than later. Okay, so here's an example of something that a buyer would be like, wow, this looks great. And buyers, I tend to advise my buyers, look at this estimate, look at the Redfin estimate. Not that those are accurate, but that is what a lot of other buyers are looking at. And that's how they're gonna like, set it in their mind that the value is this estimate. And some agents will hide it, some won't. I tend to recommend to sellers that we keep this estimate there, because people will find out. They'll know, we all have agents who look up the comps for us. Okay, so like this is staged really well. Sometimes what I'll do with clients is like, we'll go and we'll paint an accent wall. So there's like more color here, and it's not just white. This one looks like it has some curvature in the wall, so I don't know if I would do accent on that. Yeah, like pretty basic, but the staging makes it look a lot better than if it wasn't staged. So that's that. And so I recommend to sellers like to look and see what is happening in their market. So let's look at something that, let's see, maybe they're all staged. Maybe everyone's done a great job. This one's staged, looks great. People get emotional when it's staged. Here's what I'm talking about. Okay. Here's one that's listed at 1.75. This one could use a new coat of paint. And I'm not recommending that we all go out and paint the house. As I mentioned, this is a video of how to sell your house today. But as you can see, like the yard isn't well kept. To be honest, this is how my yard looks right now because we are doing construction on it. But I would recommend getting professional photos too, which is the next part of this. This is something that's coming to my mind that's not on the list. It's floor plans. If you have a floor plan, buyers love floor plans. They love to think, okay, especially if there's like the square feet on it. They like to think, okay, where are we going to put the couch? Where are we going to put the baby crib and all that? So this is a big plus. But as you can see, like this could look so good with better lighting and professional photography. So I always get photography for my clients. It's very, very important. Yeah, so like this, I don't know how long this has been on market, 134 days. Maybe there's a tenant in it. Maybe that's why it hasn't sold, because tenants tend to kind of scare a lot of buyers away. I do think that if this had better photos, it would sell so much faster. And again, I don't know the full story, but that's that on that. So definitely get staging and good photos. And I've already pointed out the photo situation here. It's like a little bit weird. I'm pretty good at taking photos, but I'm nowhere near as good as a professional who does it all the time. And if you're really trying to get those higher price points, the layouts are great. And then during lockdowns, maybe you're watching this years after lockdown, having those walkthroughs are really great too, or even a video walkthrough where it's all shaky. Like people like to see it and get excited about that. But for the price points we're doing in the Bay Area, I always recommend it be professional. And then some people like to have like the drone footage, not necessary unless you're really trying to go all out and you're in one of the, again, higher price points. So I hope this video helped you, and I'll have a lot more like it. I'm just trying to like skim the surface to give you an idea. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to text me at 650-797-1007 or email me at alicejoyk@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll hopefully see you again soon.